Welcome to Your Yes-Filled Life. I'm Brenda Winkle, energetic leadership guide, psychic medium, and somatic coach for ambitious leaders who know their gifts are real and who want to stand fully in them. Here, you'll learn how to trust your intuition, embody your vision, and step into the freedom you've been craving, all without chasing more certifications or carrying stuff that does not belong to you. Every week, I'll share powerful practices and conversations with thought leaders and changemakers that help you transform your vision into embodied confidence, claim your gifts without apology, and lead with both clarity and freedom. Because your gifts aren't cute, they're powerful, they're real, and they're needed. Start today by downloading my free energy audit at brendawinkle.com/audit. It's the exact tool I use to track what's fueling me and what's draining me. It will help you discern between that hit of achievement and true joy so that you can lead with more clarity and impact. This is your space to stop proving, start embodying, and live fully in your gifts. Welcome to Your Yes-Filled Life. Hello, and welcome to Your Yes-Filled Life. I'm your host, Brenda Winkle. Happy New Year. It's 2026. And I would love to invite you to think about what is one word that you would like to be your guiding filter for the year. So when I choose my word, I think about something that I want to feel or experience or be mindful of. And I talked in last episode about the word of the year for 2024, which was impact for me. And this year, I'm choosing the word ease to go into 2026 because I want to be mindful of creating a life that has more intentionality, more ease, more time for connection, more time for romance, more time for reciprocal relationships. And so ease just feels like the thing. So invitation to think about what is your word of the year? And when you think about it, will you let me know? Reach out to me on social if we're connected there, or send me an email. I'd love to know your word of the year. And I'll even share it in an upcoming episode if you want me to share your word of the year. I feel like it's such a cool thing to filter things through because it will help influence your decisions to make sure you stay on track. I like it better than a resolution because I feel like resolutions can be based in a deficit, like there's something wrong or that needs to be fixed with us. And I don't subscribe to that at all, which you know. And one of my favorite practices is to do a form of reflection, which I'm actually guiding the Spiritual CEO membership through the second week of January. And it's where we're going to go through our calendar and give ourselves credit for everything that's happened in 2025 and then set a plot a course. You know what I meant? Set a plot a course for how to get there wherever it is that we want in 2026 by giving ourselves full credit for everything that's happened in 2025. And if you're an empath and intuitive and you're watching all of the new year, you stuff, and you're thinking, gosh, I just don't think this resonates. Yeah, me neither. I don't feel like I'm becoming a new person in the new year on January 1. I mean, first of all, that is not energetically the new year. It's just not. It's not the Lunar New Year, which most of the globe recognizes. We don't necessarily in the US, although we've talked about it more this year than we ever have before. But we often talk about like spring being the actual new year energetically. And so if you're tracking energy and you're sort of like, I don't quite feel like it's all new, that's because energetically it's not. But it is a really good time to set intentions. And that's why it's such a beautiful time for us to think about what is the identity we really want to carry into 2026 for ourselves. And identity work is one of the most impactful things we can each do because we can't get in front of our identity. If, for example, you identify as something that is in contrast to the thing that you want, you can't move forward in the way that it will be easeful or with impact, both of my words, um, as much. It just kind of keeps you stuck. So we have to think about how can we shift into the new identity that will really support the next version of ourselves that we want to step into. And I think, when we think about stepping into the next version, this isn't like a better version or an improved version. It is the next most aligned and authentic version. I feel like for me, that feels so much better in my system than thinking about new year, new you. And so, invitation to come join me, choose a word of the year, and then think about what is the identity that you want to step into for the year. And then, one of the most destructive things that someone can do is to use affirmations. And let me tell you what I mean by that. If you're saying an affirmation and you don't believe what you're saying, you'll actually create subconscious resistance. You will actually create problems by saying affirmations that you don't think are true. I mean, I have experienced this personally. When I was a Mary Kay sales director, I had a list as long as my arm of affirmations, and I had them memorized. I would do them like multiple times a day. Like some of them I would say 3 or 4 times a day, and I did them every day. And things got worse, not better. And it was because my subconscious identity was not on board with what I was saying. And so then I read a book by Noah St. John. It was the little book of affirmations, AFFORMATIONS. You know what? He actually, I got an email from his team and he wanted to come on the podcast. So, Dr. Noah, if you're still listening to the podcast, invitation to send that email. I replied to your team. I would love to have you come on. Anyway, that little book created a question in my mind about how we could be doing affirmations that actually can move the needle towards shifting into the new identity. And so I just want to say that that has influenced the way that I now teach affirmations, but I still have my own unique spin on it. What I would like you to do or invite you to do is to create a sentence, I am becoming someone who. So let's say abundance is on your mind. I am becoming someone who lives a life of abundance. Or let's say you're stepping into a new identity. Maybe like my client Stephanie, who moved from the identity of being a former teacher into being the identity of being a writer, I am becoming someone who identifies as being a writer. You can soften it like that, and your subconscious will get on board with it. And next thing you know, your subconscious will actually believe that you are a writer. Or, in my case, I am becoming someone who is a world-class international speaker. And I mean, I am. The podcast is in over 20 countries in 2025 alone. And so it is happening. But if I were to say I'm an international speaker, the first thing my subconscious does is think, well, but you haven't spoken on stages in those countries. Okay, so you've guested on a few podcast episodes in 5, 6, 7 countries, but you're not really international. That's literally what my subconscious tells me. Now, I have an inner mean girl. Maybe you do too. And so I have to be really careful with affirmations and identity work to make sure that I am taking care of that part of me. And so when I say I am becoming someone who identifies as a world-class speaker, I don't hear any internal mental chatter. My inner mean girl stays quiet, which is the way that I like her to be. And things seem to go a lot smoother. So as you move into 2026 and you start thinking about what you want to call in for yourself for the year, the identity you want to live into this year, invitation to use those two things. I am becoming someone who, and then do the identity work. And identity work is so profound and so subtle. It's both. So, one of the things that has, I have a tickle on my nose, pardon me. One of the things that has become very clear to me this year is that I am going through a massive identity shift. Massive, huge. My clothes in my closet don't feel like they reflect who I am. I feel uncomfortable in them, not because they're uncomfortable, because like they're really soft. I have nice clothes, but they just don't represent who I feel like I am becoming. And that's a really big sign that my identity has shifted or is shifting. And so when you think about identity shifts, a lot of times you can start somewhere really simple, and that is in your closet. How does the person who identifies the way you want to identify dress their body? How does that person dress? How do you treat yourself? What foods does someone with your identity, your desired identity, what foods do they eat to nourish their bodies? What do they prioritize as far as wellness or exercise? So think about how can you create massive profound change with really subtle tiny shifts, and you're going to be amazed at the results. So, like, I hope this isn't too much information, but one of the things I I noticed that some of my undergarments, let's just say that, had like some little holes, some little tears like on the sides of the seams. And I was like, whoa, I'm not going to wear underwear with holes in it. I'm just not going to do that. And so I the same day I recorded this episode, I ordered a bunch of new underwear because I am someone who wears nice clothes, including underwear. I will not be someone who wears underwear with holes in it or socks with holes in them or anything like that. So, this is a great time of year because there's so much purging around us to go through things and do little identity shifts in those ways. Now, one of the identity shifts that I have fully stepped into this year is that I not only provide the healing and coaching and mentorship, but I also mentor other healers, coaches, and guides. And that identity shift really did take most of 2025 for me to be really comfortable in that role. And that identity shift has given me some clarity on some of the ways that maybe you could step into a bigger, more robust identity as a coach, healer, or guide yourself. So, if you're listening to this podcast, chances are you're either an empath, you have deep intuition, a lot of compassion, and you probably can already sense and know what's happening within somebody. You probably have a pretty good idea of what the conversation under the conversation is, but you probably also are still hesitating to say it out loud. You're probably hesitating to admit how much information you're getting intuitively or empathically, but you're feeling it or you sense it or you see it. Excuse me. Um, you feel a tightness in your client's chest, or you observe it, or maybe you even feel it in your own. You can sense the energetic block. You can feel that the person that you're sitting across from is telling what they perceive to be the truth. And you can also see that there's something in their subconscious that is saying something different. You know, there's more happening, but you're afraid of being wrong. You're afraid of misreading it. You're afraid of overstepping. And one of the identity shifts that I'd like to invite you into is doing this work, this level of work isn't necessarily about being more intuitive. Although your intuition will continue to grow and develop throughout your life. You will always like grow and find a deeper connection to your intuition. But I also want to reflect and mirror back to you, you're already really intuitive, or you wouldn't be drawn to this podcast. What we're talking about here in this identity shift is learning how to trust what you sense and then using that with skill and integrity. Because the truth is, you don't want to say every single intuitive nugget that comes through your mind. Sometimes it is so that you can guide the session in a specific way, or you can guide the conversation, or sometimes it's a way for you to avoid stepping in something or opening something up that isn't ready to open, whether it's with a client or a coworker or a peer. And that's what we're doing inside the Intuitive Somatic Healer certification. You're going to learn how to name what you feel in a sovereignty first language that's always based in consent. So you gather the person's consent before you share, which means you aren't ever overstepping because you're always asking for permission to share. You're going to learn how to work with the field. When I say the field, I mean however your intuition comes through for you, whether that's in vision or sound or touch or knowing. And you're going to learn how to use somatic tools in the moment for real shifts. And you're going to even know which somatic tools to use for different things. This isn't spiritual guesswork, it's intuitive mastery. And it's rooted in ethics, social justice, trauma awareness, and embodiment. And when you learn to fully trust the intuition that comes through for you, you're going to step into a next level identity as a coach and healer. And that is going to impact all of your work because you'll talk about it differently. You'll price it differently. You'll have a level of confidence that will help your clients feel more confident in working with you. So if that is feeling appealing to you, enrollment closes soon because we start Monday, January 5th. And it's taken me a while. I apologize, but I have a pretty new vanity link for you on the somatic healing certification. And it is brendawinkle.com/somatic, SOMATIC. So many healers get stuck at good, like they're a good healer or they're a good coach. And they get stuck there because they don't learn to fully trust their intuition. And the truth is, people are coming to you because of your unique energy. You know, there's a lot of fast food places, right? Like, if you can find a McDonald's, I bet you can find a Burger King, and I don't even know what the other ones are. But my point is, I bet you can find another hamburger place that's fast food within a half mile, if not multiple hamburger places. And yet somehow there's enough for all of them to exist. And one of the things that we tell ourselves is, oh, there's enough coaches, there's enough healers. Yeah, but none of them have your unique perspective. None of them have your unique gifts. None of them have your intuitive capabilities like you do. And that's why you're really, really important because people need you. You have people that are just waiting for you to step into this next level identity. And so this is for you if you've already done the trainings, you've helped the clients, and you still find yourself wondering, am I using my intuition? Am I projecting? Am I overstepping? So if you feel ready to stop guessing and start really guiding with skill, what you need now isn't more tools, it's a method that shows you exactly how to use what you already know. So inside the Intuitive Somatic Healer certification, you're going to learn how to read that body and the field with intuitive precision. You're going to learn how to move energy safely and ethically from a trauma-aware lens. And you're going to use breath, sound, and movement to shift patterns in real time. It's time for you to stop doubting yourself. It's time for you to stop playing small. It is time for you to lead those sessions that can create transformation faster, safer, and deeper for your clients. This is your next level. And we start on Monday the 5th. This is the founding cohort. It's a small group. We'll be live for 6 weeks. And you can go visit brendawinkle.com/somatic to learn more. I absolutely can't wait for 2026 to get started. And it's only day 1 of 2026. And I am so excited to claim my identity as a mentor and a guide in 2026 and to step more fully into my role as a speaker in 2026. And I'm curious, what are you stepping into this year? What is your identity going to be as you embark on your 2026? I really would love to hear from you. Let me know, what is your word of the year if you choose a word of the year? What is the identity that you're stepping into this year? And let's support each other. And If you want to do this work in community on an ongoing way, come join us over in the Spiritual CEO membership. It's we meet once a week for an hour. We usually meet Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Pacific, and you can join for $111 per month or $1,111 per year and save 17%, basically getting 2 months free. And that's where we do ongoing work with breath work, and there's questions and laser coaching and all the things. So you can come join us there too if you're interested. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being on this journey with me. I love coming here and talking with you, and it means a lot that you're here. Thank you. I know there's different things that you could be doing with your time, and it just means a lot that you're listening or watching if you're over on YouTube. So if you enjoyed this, would you consider sharing it with somebody you care about? And maybe you can have a conversation about what you and your friend or your partner or your loved one's identity is going to be throughout 2026. My word of the year is ease. I can't wait to see what's going to come with that. I know that there's things I haven't yet seen. There's always unintended consequences for every one of these words that I've chosen, but I'm excited for this one. So tell me what your word is. Thanks so much for being here. Bye for now. Until next time.